Good morning, my loves. Here we go. I have more gossip for you all. The horrifying true story of Jeffrey Epstein. Well, today's date is November 23, 2025. Listen up, you gorgeous degenerates, because I'm about to spill the tea that still makes my skin crawl every single time I think about it. And trust me, I think about it a lot because this sick fuck, Jeffrey Epstein, didn't just accidentally become the most connected pedophile in modern history. No, honey. This was a carefully built machine of pure evil that ran for decades right under everyone's noses, while the rich and powerful took turns flying to that disgusting island. This greasy, smug, lizard-looking bastard started out as some math teacher nobody in the 70s. Then suddenly he's managing billions for a shady arms dealer, gets himself into Bear Stearns, crashes out, and somehow rebrands as the genius billionaire money manager that every celebrity president and royal just had to be friends with. Yeah, okay, sure. Totally normal trajectory for a guy who looked like he showered in baby oil and desperation. And don't even get me started on that private jet, the Lolita Express they called it, because subtlety was never these people's strong suit, was it? Bill Clinton on there 26 times, Trump bragging he could grab whatever he wanted, Prince Andrew sweating his balls off lying through his teeth, Bill Gates meeting him after the convictions, scientists, Hollywood A-listers. All of them hopping on that plane like it was the Hamptons shuttle while little girls who should have been in high school were being trafficked, drugged, raped, and passed around like party favors. Ghislaine Maxwell, that sociopathic madam with the dead eyes, recruiting from trailer parks and broken homes, promising modeling careers and education, then delivering these kids straight into hell while Epstein sat there grinning with those tiny shark teeth. The craziest part is how many people knew, how many warnings got ignored, how many investigators got shut down, how many suicides. Happened right when someone was about to talk, because we're supposed to believe this guy with dirt on half the planet just randomly hanged himself the one night the cameras malfunctioned and the guards fell asleep. Give me a fucking break. They murdered him, shut it down, protected the client list, and now half the country pretends it was just some big nothing burger because their favorite politician might be on it. This wasn't just one rich creep. This was a whole network of predators protecting each other. And the fact we still don't have the full list in 2025 is the biggest disgrace of all. Screaming at the top of my lungs because these girls deserve justice, and we deserve to know exactly who flew where and did what to who. Second gossip I have for you. Epstein niece says, "Why, seeing Epstein and my Uncle Donald haunts me, oh my God, you guys. I just dove into this latest episode of the Daily Beast podcast, where Mary Trump, that brave soul, who's been dragging her Uncle Donald through the mud for years, finally opens up about the time she was in the same damn room as Jeffrey Epstein at one of his tacky weddings. And let me tell you, it is the kind of family horror story that would make anyone want to bleach their brain, because here she is at 28 years old, minding her own business at Donald's 1993 blowout to Marla Maples at the Plaza Hotel in New York. And there's Epstein lurking around like the creepy sidekick. He was never even introduced to her, probably, because she wasn't some high-rolling sycophant in his inner circle. But now, looking back, it haunts the hell out of her knowing what a monster that pedophile turned out to be and how her uncle just casually hung out with him like it was no big deal. And Mary doesn't stop there. She paints this picture of growing up in the Trump clan as one big sexist shitshow, where even the women were misogynists, treating her grandma like some fragile doll who couldn't handle anything real, while the men, including Donald and her Uncle Robert, sat around at dinners rating women like they were menu items, calling them ugly fat slobs or hot pieces based on whatever twisted scale they had in their heads. And it was all so normalized that as a kid, she bought into the family legend of Donald being this genius success story pushed by her grandpa Fred, but deep down she always knew he wasn't smart at all, just a loudmouth phony who craved attention from anyone, even crashing her Sweet 16 at his own Hyatt hotel, to turn it into the Donald Show, trying to wow a bunch of bored teenagers who couldn't care less, and that was the first red flag that this guy has zero boundaries or self-awareness. But here's the kicker, she calls him the world's most dangerous man, not because he's some tough guy, no, he's the weakest, most pathetic loser she's ever known, but because idiots keep handing him power. And now, with all this Epstein dirt swirling around, she warns, he'd drag everyone down with him if it suited his ego, whether it's spilling secrets or throwing tantrums about his failing health. And honestly, after hearing her spill all this, I am screaming from the rooftops, because this is the real Trump legacy, a toxic mix of cruelty, neglect, and cover-ups that still poisons everything it touches. And now Epstein's brother exposes Trump's lies on AIR, outs his plan to falsify Epstein list. Oh honey, sit your asses down, because I am losing my goddamn mind over this latest bombshell that's got the whole internet on fire, and trust me when I say it's the kind of dirty laundry that even the Trump cult can't spin into gold anymore, since Mark Epstein, that poor bastard who's been carrying the weight of his brother's monstrous legacy, finally dragged his ass onto live TV and ripped the Band-Aid off every single lie Donald J. Trump has been peddling about his so-called clean break from Jeffrey back in the day, and now we're all staring at the ugly truth that this orange menace not only knew way more than he's admitting, but he's been actively scheming to scrub his greasy fingerprints off the Epstein files before they see the light of day. Because why else would he flip-flop like a dying fish on releasing those documents after months of calling it all a Democrat hoax and stonewalling the hell out of Congress while his DOJ cronies play hide the evidence with the client list that could bury half his administration? I mean, come on, people. I caught this interview on News Nation with Chris Cuomo, and Mark is just there spilling it all with this weary voice like he's done pretending the emperor has clothes, and he straight up says his brother Jeffrey had dirt on Trump, dirt so deep and nasty that it could have canceled the 2016 election if it ever leaked out, because back then, Epstein was hoarding secrets like a dragon with a complex, and he told Mark point blank that Trump knew about the girls, the underage ones being flown in and passed around like cheap champagne at one of his tacky Mar-a-Lago parties, and don't even get me started on those emails that just dropped from the House Oversight Committee, where Epstein's writing to Michael Wolff, that sleazy author who loves stirring the pot, and he's like, yeah, Trump knew about the girls, and spent time with one of the victims right there in black and white for anyone with eyes to see, while Trump was busy denying. He even talked to Jeffrey after 2004, like that's not the biggest pile of horse shit, since he claimed the crowd at his inauguration was the biggest ever. And Mark doesn't stop at the lies about their friendship. Oh no, he drops the hammer on why Trump dragged his feet for months on signing that Epstein Files Transparency Act, even after promising on Lex Fridman's podcast that he'd release everything if he got back in the White House, because apparently, in February 2025, his own Attorney General Pam Bondi was bragging on Fox that the client list was sitting right on her desk ready for review. And then poof, nothing happens. The DOJ and FBI announce no more releases. It's all wrapped up while survivors are screaming for justice, and Trump's out there tweeting that it's a hoax perpetrated by the libs to distract from whatever the fuck he was ranting about that week. But Mark's source, a pretty damn reliable one, apparently whispers in his ear that the real reason for the sudden about-face is sabotage. They're scrubbing those files clean, yanking out every mention of Republican bigwigs, conservative politicians, Trump's inner circle, all getting their names redacted like it's some bad spy novel. Because God forbid the MAGA faithful find out their fearless leader was elbow deep in the same pedo swamp as Epstein, hopping on flights checking out the island, and who knows what else, while pretending he banned him from Mar-a-Lago for groping a model, or some bullshit cover story that fell apart faster than his hair in the rain. Ha. Can you imagine the panic in the White House when Mark goes on CNN with Aaron Burnett just hours before Trump finally caves and signs the bill, posting on Truth Social like, oh yeah, I just approved the release, as if he wasn't the one who sat on it for nearly a year, letting Kash Patel, that Trump lapdog, run the FBI like his personal cleanup crew, because Mark even accuses Patel of covering up Jeffrey's so-called suicide back in 2019, when the cameras magically failed and the guards napped like it was siesta time. And now, with the files supposedly dropping in 30 days, the FBI is beefing up security at the storage facility because protesters are showing up, and Bloomberg's reporting it's all spiraling from Marx, claims that they're tampering with evidence to protect the GOP elite. And I'm over here yelling at my screen because this isn't just gossip, this is the smoking gun we've been waiting for. Proof that Trump's not some outsider draining the swamp. He's the fucking swamp monster himself swimming in Epstein's cesspool, while his brother Mark is the only one with balls enough to call it out, saying investigators need to dig into Trump's own flight logs from the 90s when he was ferrying Epstein around on his jets too, because turnabout's fair play right. And if Clinton's 26 trips get dragged through the mud, why the hell aren't we counting how many times Trump played chauffeur to the king of underage exploitation? But wait, it gets even juicier, because Mark disputes every single timeline Trump throws out there, like that 2019 clip, where Trump's on camera swearing he hadn't spoken to Epstein in 15 years or more, acting all shocked and betrayed, like he was the victim of some bad breakup, when in reality after Trump squeaked out the 2016 win, he picked up the phone to Jeffrey himself, all giddy like, "Can you believe this shit? I actually pulled it off," and Epstein's over there chuckling, because he knows the dirt he has could end it all, but instead of spilling, he just files it away for leverage and Marks. Quoting his brother directly from some tape Steve Bannon recorded during those weird interviews, where Epstein's spilling about realizing Trump was a crook, a straight-up crook. That's why he cut ties, not because Trump banned him from the club like the heroic tale he spins, but because Jeffrey saw the real deal, a lying, cheating grifter who'd sell his own kids for a pole bump. And now, with 20,000 pages of emails hitting the public, including ones where Epstein's offering up photos of Trump with bikini-clad girls in his kitchen, or discussing hush money payoffs to Stormy Daniels with Epstein's lawyer, it's crystal clear this wasn't some casual acquaintance. These two were thick as thieves, trading secrets and favors until the heat got too hot, and Trump started rewriting history faster than he signs executive orders for his golf buddies. Jesus Christ, I am cackling and raging all at once, because the White House is out there dismissing it all as baseless claims from a grieving brother, like that's gonna fly when survivors are lining up to testify, and Democrats like Ro Khanna, and even some Republicans like Marjorie Taylor Greene are pushing this bill through despite Mike Johnson throwing a tantrum about it, and Trump's sudden "I love transparency" act coming right after Mark's interview. It's too coincidental, too slimy. And if they think redacting names is gonna save face, they're dumber than I thought, because the internet never forgets, and once those unscrubbed originals leak, and they will, because nothing stays buried forever, the whole house of cards comes tumbling down with Trump at the bottom, clutching his tiny hands around whatever scraps of plausible deniability he has left, while the rest of us demand the full, unfiltered truth, because those girls, those victims, they didn't suffer for nothing, and no amount of MAGA deflection or Fox News spin is gonna whitewash this stain off the White House doorstep. So keep watching, folks, because this story's just getting started, and I'm here for every ugly reveal. Trump betrays Zelensky and America for Putin's playbook. Oh, fuck me sideways, you incredible troublemakers. Pull up a chair and let me rant, because I am spitting mad about this slimy snake, Donald J. Trump, straight up selling out Volodymyr Zelensky and every last shred of American decency by peddling some half-baked peace plan that's nothing but Vladimir Putin's wet dream dressed up in stars and stripes like a cheap Halloween costume. And don't even pretend this is about ending the war with honor. No, this is betrayal on a biblical scale, where Trump's whispering sweet nothings to his dictator buddy about how Ukraine should just roll over hand over the Donbas and Crimea like it's loose change at a flea market, while he translates those Russian surrender terms into what he calls American rules, trying to gaslight the whole world into thinking it's a fair deal, when we all know it's a goddamn surrender disguised as diplomacy. I mean, come on, Zelensky's out there fighting tooth and nail against the fascist horde that's been bombing hospitals and schools for years, barely scraping by on our aid that's already too damn little. And now Trump, this orange traitor, who's been kissing Putin's ass since day one, is berating him in the Oval Office, calling him ungrateful and threatening to cut off the spigot, unless he signs on the dotted line by Thanksgiving like that's not the most tone-deaf holiday flex ever, because nothing says family feast like forcing a war-torn nation to capitulate while you're carving the turkey with JD Vance cackling in the background, and the hypocrisy burns brighter than Trump's spray tan, because back in 2019, this clown got impeached for shaking down Zelensky over dirt on Biden, shaking him down like some mob boss for personal favors. And now here he is doing it again, but on steroids, pushing this so-called plan that European allies are screaming is straight capitulation, ceding land, paying reparations to the invaders, and letting Russia keep their ill-gotten gains all, while Trump brags on Fox that it's genius peacemaking that nobody else could pull off, like we forgot how he lost the first time by cozying up to tyrants. And now, with those Epstein emails dropping like confetti showing Jeffrey spilling to Russian contacts about Trump's dirty little secrets, the leverage it's got him by the balls, is obvious he's not working for America or freedom or any of that bullshit. He's dancing to the tune of his autocrat pals, because if he doesn't play ball, they'll leak whatever Epstein hoarded on his island romps and Mar-a-Lago gropes. And suddenly, the guy who promised to drain the swamp is drowning in it, terrified of the full files hitting the fan. Jesus Christ, I'm yelling at my coffee mug over here, because Zelensky's facing his darkest hour corruption scandals, ripping at home, the front lines crumbling, and Trump's not sending tanks, or resolve he's sending ultimatums that scream you fold or you're on your own, and it's got me laughing bitterly. Because this is what betrayal looks like. The guy who waves the flag hardest is the first to burn it for his own skin, saving the Epstein ghost that's haunting his every twitch. Trump is a traitor. Oh, and dearest MAGA, I was not talking to you. I just want to thank you all, like, share, and follow to stay connected. I am Santiago del Carmen Maria, the queen of crowning thoughts, because I say it like it is. Copyright 2025, independent writer, crowning thoughts, truth speaker, AI video content creator, writer, blogger, Santiago DC. Maria. All rights reserved.